Hey, today we want to talk to you about why change is important in a marriage and what keeps some people from wanting to change. A couple reasons you need to change is one thing is we're always changing ourselves. So we have to keep changing to adapt to that. The second thing is each one of us, when we get married, we find there's things about ourselves. It shows our imperfections. And then we have to change to get out of those and be more godly. So marriage helps us to do that. So hey, I'm Mitch.
And I'm Kim.
We're at Keeping the Vows, where we're all about helping people to discover and then maintain a Christ-like marriage. Most people probably think that when you go into a counselor, that a person says what's on their mind and explains the situation, and the counselor sheds some light on that and gives them different ways to think about things. A counselor shouldn't really say do this generally, but you give them new insight so they have fresh eyes for it is what you do. And that's good. But in my counseling, I've also come across people that come in for counseling, but they really don't have any intention of changing. So they come in and they know that they're the enabler, or they know that they're the one with the issue, but they come in because they want to talk about it. They really don't have any intention of changing is how it comes across. And it can be for different reasons. And so some people will go to a counselor that tells them the truth and they don't hear what they want to hear. So they'll go to another counselor that tells them what they want to hear. Now they go away and they don't change. But I guess that's maybe what they wanted deep down inside, to be able to say they went to a counselor. So change is difficult for all of us. There's a couple things to say about change. One of them is counselors. There's a saying that some people want to change almost enough to do something about it, but not quite. And another saying is that the only one that likes change is a wet baby. And as people get older, they don't like change either. It's just something they don't. So some people also have emotional health issues, mental health issues, that cause them to not want to change, or they don't think that they can change. So it's not uncommon for the mental illness to want to protect itself so that they don't change also. And all of that can hinder or derail a marriage if change isn't brought about to destructive behavior. So within marriage, we need to be changing because both our spouse and ourselves are changing constantly. And also we want to keep up with the person's change that we're married to. Also, as a Christian, we want to be changing so that we can be as Christ-like as possible. This is something called sanctification, and we'll never reach perfection here on earth, but we are to be striving for it. Christ said, be perfect as I am perfect, and that's not just an exaggeration. I think we're supposed to be striving to be that and never be content with where we're at, knowing that there's always a ways to walk down the road from where we are. So here we're going to address some of the things that we think hinder change in our lives. Kim, you want to take the first one?
Sure. So the first reason why we don't like to change is I don't want to be wrong. We can trick ourselves into believing that never being wrong is a good thing, but rarely ever is that true. Actually, if we don't think we're ever wrong, that's a roadblock to us learning and improving ourselves.
Yeah.
And we're going to have to get over this insecurity if we want to live up to the full potential that God has given us and becoming the person that He wants us to be.
And admitting you're wrong is a strength, not a weakness.
Yes. So, both of us together are better than each of us separately. When we first got married, I didn't like to be wrong. I like to think I was always right.
I liked it even less than Kim did. I liked that I didn't like to be wrong either.
But, when we set aside our pride and actually listen to what Mitch has to say, then I realized, he does have some good ideas, and his ideas might be better than mine, or when we work together, we can come up with the best idea. So we just need to get over ourselves and admit that sometimes that we're going to be wrong, sometimes that our spouse has a better idea than we do, and this is the best way to discover what's actually right, by having an open mind and being willing to admit that we're wrong sometimes.
Yeah. And then also, we don't want the problem to be me, and I don't want to see the ugly parts inside of me. I don't want to look inside me and see those ugly parts. That's what a lot of people do that. And, God didn't make you and your spouse perfect when you got married. He had you get married because it's His plan to help you discover your flaws. Because when you live together 24/7, you start getting under each other's skins, and you start noticing each other's idiosyncrasies and things like that. And God knows that marriage is the best relationship to expose our shortcomings, which were there all along. Marriage doesn't manufacture our shortcomings, it just exposes them, okay? And in a college roommate situation, you get frustrated with each other and everything a little bit, but you're going to be getting out of that, and marriage isn't like that. So when we were college dorm mates, you just didn't have a person close enough to really tell you the truth that you knew was going to be with you long term. So I believe that true honesty in a relationship is coming to the point of ugly. And this point of ugly is me saying, hey, look, this is what I bring to the relationship, this one thing. And I'm not proud of it. In some ways, I'm ashamed of it. But this is who I am. Love me anyway, please, and help me to change. And when you get to that point of I call it ugly, then you can start to move on from there a little bit. And another thing that person will say too is, when they say that is, can you still love me in spite of my flaws? And that's, if they can, then that's sending a big message.
So the third reason why people don't want to change is they don't want to look at themselves. If I don't look too close at myself, I might not think that there's anything wrong. There's a saying that if you don't go to the doctor, then he won't tell you you're sick and you're not actually sick. Well, we know that's not true. And trust me, all of us have things wrong with us. We all have a sin nature. We all have things that we need to change in ways that we need to become more like Jesus. So let's just dig in and work on it and develop ourselves into the best possible version of ourselves. The only thing worse than looking at our faults actually is ignoring them and allowing them to continue on.
I think one of the things that really plays into this too is our media now. We are so busy that we don't have time to think about ourselves. And the person looks at their cell phone now, 140 times a day, which is crazy. And so we stay so busy that we don't have to look inside ourselves and see what's inside of there. And I think that might be a shortcoming of our culture. And it's impacting us, it's changing us. And it's so much easier to just blame it on your spouse than to admit that you might be the one with the problem.
But the fact of the matter is that our spouse sees us as we really are. And this isn't a disadvantage, but rather it's a huge advantage.
Yeah.
Our spouse can see through our smoke screens. We might try to cover up who we really are with jokes or hobbies, makeup, work, whatever. We might work on making ourselves more beautiful on the outside by working out or whatever it is, so that we don't actually have to look inside and work on the things inside that need to be changed.
Yeah. There's a saying that beauty is empty and charm a deceit. And if you really take time and think about that, beauty is fleeting, it's going to go away. I love to go and look at something who was a supermodel or, really, in the 50s, really popular and glamorous and all that. And now they're 85 or 90 and they're not glamorous that anymore. They're still the same person, but they're not. So we take and spend billions of dollars every year to make ourselves look good on the outside and do things like that instead of working on the inside. So far as charm being a deceit, people can actually use charm to get their way with people, which is actually deceiving them. If I can use, last night we went to a restaurant, we had a waitress, and I read people really quickly. And she just really was interesting because she just was walking along normal, and all of a sudden she came to the table, she went into this full drama mode where she was just, I'm sure she was just trying to be nice, but she doesn't realize the behavior she's learned is just all about charm and how she just tried to overwhelm us with her charm. And to me, it just didn't come across as genuine.
So introspection can be uncomfortable. We don't want to be alone with ourselves, or actually God for that matter.
No.
We avoid things that are difficult. So we try to keep busy, we keep distracted, we major on the minors. Maybe, like I said before, maybe it's your hobbies, your appearance, your jobs. We keep so busy that we don't have to think about where we might need to change.
Yeah. A disciple is an imitator of Christ, and we can't imitate him unless we earnestly strive to be like him. And that means being different than we are right now. Paul compares striving to be like Christ to a runner leaning into the race as he finishes it. We've all seen the 100-yard dash where they're just leaning their chest into it. That should be our posture in our Christ walk. So let's imagine that posture as a runner leaning into winning that race, and then mimic it in our own lives, just to be more like Jesus. Hey, I hope this has been helpful. Make sure you go to our blog at keepingthevows.com. Check out our other videos at Keeping the Vows on YouTube. And God bless. Have a wonderful day.